February 1986. A ruler flees his palace. The people have won. Ferdinand Marcos, the iron-fisted ruler of the Philippines for 2 decades, is escaping into exile. On the plain, they find crates of gold, cash, and jewels, a king's ransom. But what they carried was nothing compared to what they left behind. Left behind were whispers of a fortune so vast it defied imagination. An alleged treasure worth not millions, but billions. For decades, the world has asked, where did Ferdinand Marcos get his gold? The answer is a story of myth, power, and a truth far more disturbing than any legend. Because the real secret isn't if he found a treasure, it's that he created a lie to hide it. The story begins long before Marcos. It begins with the fall of an empire, World War II. As Japanese forces retreated from Southeast Asia, legend says they could not take their plunder with them. Gold, jewels, priceless artifacts, looted from a dozen nations. The man in charge of the Philippines was General Tomoyuki Yamashita. And so, the legend of Yamashita's gold was born, a story whispered in villages and back alleys for years, a treasure so vast it could make a king of any man who found it. And one man, more than any other, was obsessed with this legend, a brilliant, ruthless lawyer named Ferdinand Marcos. He saw power not just in law or politics, but in this hidden, mythical wealth. He climbed the political ladder with unnatural speed, becoming president in 1965. But elected power wasn't enough. In 1972, he made his move. Citing civil unrest, he declared martial law. The Philippines became his kingdom. He held absolute power. The press was silenced. His rivals were jailed. The nation's coffers were now his personal vault, and he began his hunt. This is the first lie we were all told. The world believed Marcos was using army battalions to dig for Yamashita's gold. Perhaps he was. But that was the grand distraction, the perfect cover story. Why hunt for a mythical treasure when you already hold the keys to a real one? The truth was simpler and far more cynical. While the nation was mesmerized by tales of Japanese gold, Marcos was systematically plundering his own country. He wasn't just a treasure hunter. He was the architect of one of the greatest government heists in history. Marcos had turned a legend into a weapon of mass deception. It was the perfect crime. But then, someone accidentally found the truth. A man who wasn't looking for power or politics. A locksmith from a small town who in 1971 stumbled into a hole in the ground and found something that would cost him everything. His name was Roger Roxas, by trade a locksmith, by hobby a treasure hunter. He'd heard the stories like everyone else. One day, a man gave him a map from his father, a Japanese soldier. It pointed to a spot near the city of Baguio. For months, Roxas and his small team dug. They followed the tunnels deeper and deeper into the earth. And then, they found it, a concrete enclosure. When they broke through, their lantern light fell upon something impossible. A statue, about 3 feet tall, solid metal, and gleaming. A golden Buddha. It was so heavy, it took 10 men just to move it from the tunnel. Roxas took the statue home, hiding it in a closet. The mystery only deepened. He had a suspicion. Examining the Buddha, he discovered a hidden secret.
The head was removable, and inside were handfuls of uncut, precious diamonds. He had found it, a piece of the Yamashita treasure. He was rich beyond his wildest dreams. He didn't know it yet, but his discovery would come at a terrible price.
In a nation ruled by a king, you do not find his treasure and expect to keep it. Word of the discovery didn't just travel, it slithered through the halls of power, all the way to the presidential palace. Then came the night of April 5th, 1971. Armed men descended on the small home of Roger Roxas. They didn't have a warrant, they had orders. They ransacked his house. They took the gold. They took the diamonds. And then they took Roger Roxas.
He was arrested, jailed, and subjected to harsh interrogation.
His tormentors demanded the location of the main treasure chamber. He refused.
The story of Roger Roxas was a brutal warning. The treasure was real.
Marcos would do anything to control it.
But a single statue, however valuable, is not the source of a billion-dollar fortune. It was just the beginning, the seed capital. Because the true secret of Marcos's wealth isn't what he hid in the ground, it's what he unleashed into the world. To find the real fortune, you don't need a shovel. You need a banker. Physical gold is heavy. It's difficult to move, difficult to hide. Marcos was far too sophisticated for that. He performed a kind of modern alchemy. Gold and plundered cash were systematically smuggled out of the Philippines, not to be buried in vaults, but to be injected into the bloodstream of the global financial system. He used a network of loyal cronies and complex corporate layering, but the heart of the operation was Switzerland. With their legendary secrecy laws, Swiss banks were the perfect tool. In 1968, Marcos opened his first secret account using the absurdly simple pseudonym William Saunders. Imelda used Jane Ryan. It was here that the dictator's gold ceased to be an object and became a number on a ledger. Untraceable, unaccountable. This was the engine of the Marcos empire. Money from these accounts was laundered through shell corporations to buy power, influence, and assets across the globe. Blue-chip stocks, prime real estate in Manhattan, a world-class collection of art. The gold was gone. In its place stood a global financial empire, hidden in plain sight.
So, where did the Marcos gold really go? This is the final, frustrating truth. We've been looking for a treasure chest when we should have been looking for a spreadsheet. There is no single vault. There is no palace basement filled with gold bars. The treasure was never in one place. Its location is the network. It's in the deeds to buildings that have been sold a dozen times. It's in the profits of corporations that no longer exist. It's in the trust funds of heirs and the portfolios of unknowing investors. The gold was converted into an even greater power, liquidity, an invisible river of wealth that flows through the veins of the world economy to this day. Investigators have spent decades trying to chart this river. They call it the ghost ledger, a fortune they know exists but can never fully grasp. They've recovered billions, but that is believed to be a fraction of the whole. The real treasure wasn't the gold itself. It was the system Marcos built to make it disappear. Ferdinand Marcos died in exile in 1989,
never facing full accountability for his actions.
Roger Roxas, the locksmith, passed away under suspicious circumstances.
He won his case against the Marcos estate posthumously, but his family never recovered the true treasure. The story of Marcos's gold is a warning. It shows how easily truth can be buried under myth, and how in the modern world, the greatest treasures are not hidden under the earth, but inside the systems we create.
Billions of dollars were taken from the Filipino people.
Much of it remains lost, a ghost haunting the global economy. It proves that the darkest secrets of the powerful are often hidden not in secret vaults, but in plain sight, challenging us to ask, what other fortunes, built on forgotten crimes, are flowing silently all around us?